Hi there, my name is Megan Hargrave. I am a literacy coach and consultant who supports reading and writing in schools across the globe. And I am on here today just to do a quick little tutorial around the qualities of good writing. And when we think about writing, there are three major genres of writing that students might work on. They might work on narrative, informational, or opinion writing. And of course, there's different types of writing within each of those. When it comes to the genre, of course, there's certain things that are specific to that genre. But one of the things I want us to think about today is regardless of the genre, what are the big things that writers work on across all pieces of writing? Now, your child or the kids that you work with at their schools probably have some sort of checklist that they use that they are given. And if they follow the Teachers College Reading and Writing Project units of study for writing, they are probably familiar with a checklist that looks like this. And if you look at this checklist at first, for a child and an adult, you look at this checklist and you're immediately overwhelmed. And you're overwhelmed because of the sheer number of things that all writers need to work on that are listed on the left-hand side in gray. And so when we look at these checklists, we could look at them and think, oh my goodness, there's so many things on here. This is overwhelming. There's a lot to look at. Or we could think, how do we put the descriptors into buckets? And if you look closely, you'll see that that's already done for you, and that writers work on their structure, writers work on their development, and writers work on their language conventions. And you see that here with the headings at the top. Now, one of the ways I like to talk about this with writers, with kids, and with adults is to really think about each of those things as a different bucket. And so we think about the structure bucket. And if you are working on the structure of your writing, you're working on the way it's built. You're working on the overall organization. You're working on the leads and the endings and the transition between paragraphs. You're working on the building of that piece of writing, regardless of what the genre is. And then we've got the development. The development is, how do you fill that building? How do you get more words on the page? And when we look at the development, the two descriptors that kids are used to hearing is elaboration and craft. Elaboration really being how writers say more in their writing. Elaboration defines what it is that writers do to put more words on the page and to really grow their writing, and to talk to their readers and to explain things to their readers. That's all under the elaboration descriptor. And then if I'm working on my development, I'm working on how I'm building that building, I might also work on my craft. And when we think about craft, craft is just the voice that a writer brings to their writing. So craft is word choice. Craft is talking to the audience. Craft are all those stylistic moves that writers do to really develop their piece of writing. And so you've got writers who work on their structure and writers who work on their development. And good writers know that you need both of those things. Now, with your developing writers that you work with, you might notice that they're either stronger at structure or stronger at development, in which case you'll want them to set goals and work on really honing in on the skills of the bucket where their weakness lies. Of course, there's another bucket, and that's language conventions. That's thinking about the spelling and the punctuation, really the editing piece of writing, and that's certainly not something that we want to discount. We just want to see it as its own bucket, and a bucket that's a part of the bigger piece. And so thinking about three buckets, your structure, your development, your language conventions, is a way to help writers really grasp all of these different descriptors that are listed on a writing checklist, or the things that are being expected of them in writing, and quite frankly, the descriptors that really outline the qualities of what makes good writing, regardless of the genre. I hope that this helps. I hope thinking through the buckets is going to help you with whatever writers you support. Thanks so much for joining me.